So today, Dominic is on the podcast, my first Canadian that I've interviewed. Dominic, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
No worries. So do you want to start us off then with your early days playing football? Who actually got you into the game?
Yeah, I mean, first I kind of started off doing taekwondo, so it wasn't so much that I was playing football. But then after a little bit, I was watching my dad playing on Friday nights, and for me, it was very interesting. The kind of beautiful chaos that football creates, in the sense that there were red cards, there were yellow cards, there were fouls, there were injuries, and so many of those kind of memories really I still hold in the back of my mind. And yeah, it was, to be honest, those were the kind of bits and pieces that got me into football as a player. And I started quite late. I started as a 10-year-old, and then slowly started moving up the ladder. And I think with particularly my hard work, I was able to kind of, in a sense, run over some of the players that were playing from the age of 4 or 5 in the Canadian football hemisphere, and then have a good career until I had quite a big injury.
We'll speak about your injury in a short period of time, but in terms of Canadian football as a whole, when you were growing up, what's the grassroots level like over there?
Yeah, I mean, the grassroots, it's there's so many different clubs, and the reality is it's pay to play, isn't it? So you're paying to play, and there's so many parents trying to understand which is the best club, what's best for my son, what's best for my daughter. So it's really it's chaotic in a sense. And I hope that in the next few years it gets better, in the sense that there's clarity and structure, and what's the best club, what's not such a good club. So and then really making sure that's not so much pay to play, and making sure that it's not who can afford it is gonna make the national team or whatever that may be, but really making sure that it's available to all.
In the MLS, obviously, there is no promotion and relegation to the MLS. In Canada, is it the same? Because I know that there's some Canadian clubs that compete in the American competitions.
Yeah, so there's obviously 3 MLS clubs from Canada. So Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. And then Canada has its own separate league, which is the Canadian Premier League. And in that league, there's no promotion and relegation, which is really, for me, it's really devastating, in the sense that there's teams that they have nothing to fight for. I mean, they're 7th or 8th place out of an 8-team league, and they have no ambition to do more. I mean, there's nothing pushing them. There's nothing really motivating them. So for me, that's a huge step that Canadian soccer needs to take. And the U.S. Federation has done it already. They've done it with the USL leagues. MLS obviously is not incorporated in that. They don't have that promotion and relegation yet, but I think it will come. And then with the USL leagues, the USL Championship, USL League 1 and League 2, they have that promotion and relegation structure, which is something really nice that's been added recently.
So why are those 3 clubs actually in the MLS? Who decided that Canadian clubs would then compete? 'Cause isn't there a few Mexican clubs as well, or am I making that up?
No Mexican clubs,
No, okay.
But yeah, again, I don't know that. That's probably a little bit before my time, just based on my age. So I don't know much about that.
So speaking about you and your career again then, so you got this big injury at 14, 15 years old, and then I suppose you decided that coaching was the best thing for you. So what was the injury? Talk to us about how you got the injury, and then what you did after that.
Yeah, so I was playing football with a good friend of mine just on the street, and just slipped on a bit of gravel and hyperextended my knee, which led to a torn LCL, and also had some damage on the peroneal nerve. But also it became a kind of a syndrome, in the sense that I developed a complex regional pain syndrome, which still kind of affects me to this day, and it's something that's a little bit more long term in many ways. So that was the injury, and that kept me out of football for about a year or so. So that was obviously devastating. And during that time, it was about football in a different way, and in a more analytical way. I was watching matches, I was trying to analyze matches, I was trying to learn from a different lens, and quickly I realized that this is the way to go, that this coaching route is the way to go, and that I have a huge passion for it, but also that I have a bit of talent for it. And I hear so many young managers that are kind of the ones that didn't have a playing career talk about it, and when they get asked why did you start, or what came to kind of motivate you to start this coaching journey. Many times it's just intuition, and that's what it was on my end. It was kind of the intuition and the gut feeling that this was right for me, and that I'm going to be very good at this, and hopefully one day I will be very good at this.
Well, you are already having a whole host of experiences behind you already. And could you talk to us about the coaching badges that you've already got? Because I know that you're not too far off the top dog, and talk to us about the ambition that you want to try and do. I think we all know, but like, is there a club or a league that you'd rather hope to manage in one day, or is it just wherever you end up?
Yeah, so started off young, obviously, with the coaching badges as young as possible. So I really started off as a 15-year-old on the Scottish FA, just the kind of local badges, the 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then as a 16-year-old immediately on the C, and up to the A now. The A is completed. Hopefully I'm getting on the pro as soon as possible. That's kind of the goal through the Scottish FA, and then we'll go from there. Obviously, that's very important. The pro is very important in Europe, and without that, it's very difficult to get a head coaching job because there's so many UEFA pro licensed coaches. You have to be very well connected, and you have to have a very good philosophy and a good idea of how you want to play football and how you want to approach management into a given club. And if you only have your A, but with the pro, it's a lot easier. So obviously, that's kind of the goal now. Pro license, and going forward, I mean, we'll see what the future holds. My goal has been to be a 22-year-old head coach. What division that's in, we'll see. I want to make it in Europe. I want it to be in Europe, whether that's in Scandinavia somewhere in maybe a second division, and then hopefully pushing for promotion to the first, whatever that may be. But there's some kind of options and connections that I've currently got, and hopefully some of those connections lead to something good in the future.
So this whole pro license and the whole licenses that you've done in terms of badges, are they as easy as, well, to be in early 20s and to have done all of them nearly already? How easy are they for someone like myself who, if they wanted to just go and pay the $700, $800 to do these courses, are they easy, or is it not so straightforward?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, every single one has a different kind of spin on it. So, for example, the C license for me was very challenging in the sense that I came in with someone who's 16 years old, but already had like some crazy ideas, in the sense that I wanted to innovate a lot and create interesting session plans and intrigue a lot of people. And I did intrigue, but then it's about making sure that you're as kind of clear and concise as possible. And to be honest, over time, you learn that these licenses are about ticking boxes, and you need to make sure that you tick the boxes. And I've seen so many guys come onto these courses and really, really overcomplicate things. And when you overcomplicate things, it doesn't go good for you. So whether it be zones, whether it be conditions, I mean, just too much. And there's boxes that you have to tick, and hopefully that football well enough that you're going to impress. So you're going to tick the boxes, plus you're going to impress, which really guarantees you the license when you're on that assessment. And in reality, there's not so many people that go on these licenses and really, really know football, like really live by football day in, day out. So I mean, being in kind of the professional hemisphere for 3 years now, it kind of means you already have a slight advantage because you're around football day in, day out. So I've been first team level for almost 3 years now, and that really does give you a slight advantage in terms of the knowledge and the potential to impress the tutors.
And these courses, is it a lot of paperwork, or is it a lot of coursework? So are you on the pitch a lot of the time and you're judged on that? How are you judged? And is the £600 for the UEFA C, is that a really good place to start? Because let's be honest, you're not going to get a job off the back end of a UEFA C, but there's potential to build onto that.
I mean, you have to start there, don't you? And you have to build your way up, and you have to go through the process. So it's from that C to the B, and then to the A. Obviously, it gets more expensive as you go up, but just kind of referencing the last the A license that I just did. I mean, it's not so easy to really do that A license and to be successful at it. So there's so many different components to it. There's kind of the practical part, there's the theory parts, and the theory, I mean, it's like 80 pages. It's 80 pages where you're filling out every page full out with like small typewriting. So I mean, it's different in the sense that also when you go there in person, and you go to Scotland, you go for the 2 kind of blocks. If I'm not mistaken, it was 2 blocks for the license. It might have been more. I'm forgetting now, but two blocks of 5 days, let's say. Then it's like you're coaching, you're also playing, because there's no players there for you. So when another coach has a session, he needs 20 plus 2 players, let's say, and then you're part of that playing group. So I mean, it's intense in so many different ways. But at the end of the day, coaching is about a lot more than the licenses. There's thousands of pro license coaches. But coaching is about a lot more than that. There's so many pro license coaches that don't get big jobs, and there's some B license coaches that are miles ahead of pro license coaches in terms of their knowledge and in terms of their ability to coach and really persuade a team to buy into their ideas. So at the end of the day, the licenses aren't the be all and end all, but they are important, especially in Europe. Because without them you can't work. So for example, in the Slovak top flight, you have to have a pro to be a head coach, and you have to have an A to be an assistant. You have to have an A to be on the bench. So those are just kind of the realities of football in Europe.
And so I'm presuming you've been looking at these top flight leagues, whether it be Slovakia or other countries. How reluctant are clubs to take someone on board like yourself, who's just passed your A license? You're very young. Is there ever like a reluctancy in these clubs to, even if you were to do it for a less of a wage than other people because they've got more experience over you, is there a reluctancy to get you on board?
I mean, there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be in reality, because reality is experience is not based on age, but it's based on what you've really critically reflected on. So if there's a 50-year-old and they've had so many experiences, but they haven't critically reflected on any of them, then are they really experiences? Now, I'm someone who, even now without work, I spend 16 hours a day thinking about football, and then 8 hours sleep, and then I wake up and I'm thinking about football again. So it's always about critical reflection, whether it was on the past, whether it is on the present or the future. And these things are really important, and there shouldn't be a reluctancy, because at the end of the day, I think I've proven myself in my past clubs, and I've shown the ability that I have. And with my last role, I mean, I was first assistant in the sense that our head coach accepted a role with the under-21 Slovak national team as an assistant. And when he was away, I was leading the team in international breaks. And how cool was that to be 20 years old and leading 31, 32-year-olds and leading their training sessions, and leading a staff, leading 2 other assistants, leading a goalkeeper coach, an analyst, 2 conditioning coaches. So planning each session, leading the match. So, I mean, there's so many things that I've already experienced, and people kind of forget about that sometimes. And when I remind them, they're like, wow, you could be really interesting for our project. So there's been a lot of interest from different places over winter. And I've also been reaching out to some places in terms of maybe trying to get a connection for the future, not so much for the present moment. And right now I'm in a situation without a job where I'm patiently waiting for the right opportunity. I'm not going to jump into something that's not the right opportunity. It has to be perfect for me. And without that, I'm not going to jump into it.
Are you a coach or are you a manager? Because there is a difference between the two. And what one do you want to put yourself as?
Absolutely manager. So I have this kind of idea of, I don't want to be a young coach. I want to be a young manager. I speak about it with so many people over the past few weeks. The distance you keep from the players is absolutely becoming key, because the players think they're gods. Nowadays, players think they're absolute top dogs, in the sense that you have social media. They have, 100,000 followers on social media. And it's like, how do you manage that really as a coach? Because to them, you're nothing in reality. So it's really about keeping that distance from players. And if you're able to do that, you can be successful. So really, for me, it's about understanding trends and what has happened in the past, who has been successful, why have they been successful, and then can I kind of build off that in terms of my career going forward.
That's a really interesting point you make about the players thinking that they are these kings and they essentially rule the world. So for you as a manager, like for me, for example, if I went into a team, my personality is quite relaxed in terms of I would want to be with the players. So how do you set that boundary where you don't want to be so much, besties with these players?
For me, it's come over time. I mean, in my first experience, I did an individual video, so that was in Vancouver, first team obviously level. I was around 17 years old, and I did an individual video meeting with Grady McDonald, 2008. He's playing in Club Brugge at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so I did an individual video meeting with him, and immediately I got backlash from the head coach. And obviously that was something where you learn, you learn your position within a staff. And then for me, it's also important now as I reflect on that, it's like, yeah, I want to make sure my staff views that the same. So I want to make sure that my staff members know their position, but not in the sense that I want to be seen as above them if I go into a managerial role, but more so in the sense that every kind of communication with players there should be a reason for it. I mean, if it's just random communication, there's no point. So it's about making sure that these impulses that are given from staff to players are tracked, and then players to staff as well has to be tracked. So that happens as well, where a player might ask you for some information or some video. So as the manager, you want to know that. So you want to know if your analyst got asked that. You want to know if your assistant got asked that. And this is a little bit like, some people view my ideas on this as quite unique and quite, how can I say, like almost like a dictatorship. But I view it in a really different way. I view it in a way where this is the best way to work for me. And I also, like, I would do the same. So if a player came to tell me something and I was the manager, I would also tell the staff. If I had a conversation with the player, with a group, then I would also tell the staff what happened there, why it happened. And I almost, in Podbrezová, in my last job, I kind of created this calendar for each staff member to note down what happened with what player, what day, what time. So you have real clarity on what's going on in your staff, and there's no kind of discrepancies on what's going on behind the scenes. It has to be very clear.
There was a new club that was founded in Gibraltar called Hound Dogs. And let's say you were in that position and you were the manager of a newly founded team anywhere in the world. You had to get the players in, the coaching staff. How do you know, firstly, how would you go about getting a backroom staff? And secondly, how do you know, this coach would be better than this coach in the environment that I want to build?
Yeah, fantastic question. I love the bit on environment that I want to build, because it's always based on context and based on the situation. So it's not so much like the staff would be the same in every context. But to be honest, over the past 5-6 weeks or so, I've kind of developed 6 positions within my staff. And on each position, I've got around 10 guys listed. Plus I have a clear idea on their kind of wage, how much they're really making at this point, if they're available, if they'd be interested in a project with me, how connected we are, how interested they would be, and how committed they would be, and also how open they would be if I do become a manager at a young age. It's really important that you have guys who are humble around you and who aren't going to try to take your job, but also have absolutely top knowledge. So even more knowledge than me, preferably. So that's really the goal. That's been the goal over the past few weeks. And to be honest, depending on the context and the environment, then obviously I'd pick out of this list. But yeah, this list for me is very clear. I know who I've connected with. I know who the kind of top guys are who I've connected with, and I have great experience connecting with people worldwide, and I really like to learn from different cultures, and I really believe that within a staff you need to make sure that there's different cultures and different impulses that the players receive in different moments, in different situations, in different kind of contexts, in the sense that, are we losing or have we lost the last 5 matches, have we won the last 5 matches? There's different impulses that you need, so it's important that you have a diverse backroom staff.
And is the backroom staff that you'd ideally like to have in this list that I'm talking about? Where's their background? Are they all planted in Europe, or are some of them in other parts of the world?
Yeah, so I can say that kind of just going off, because I was actually just working on the project. The assistant is based in Norway, coach analyst based in Denmark, the data analyst based in the Czech Republic, the goalkeeper coach based in Slovakia, the kind of head of performance, let's call it, but that's the wrong word, because head of performance means that would be the first guy to get sacked if the results didn't go well. So I call it the physical consultant. Is based in America at this moment, and the kind of recovery consultant, I call it, is based in Slovakia. So really diverse in the sense that this top staff, my ideal staff, is based from different locations around the world with different nationalities.
And how exciting would it be if you had all of those people come together? Because ultimately, it's a very hard thing to bring all these people together. But if you ever did that, how overjoyed would you be?
No, that's the dream. That's really the dream. And it's not about me making it to some level. It's me making it to some level with the right people. And without that, it's not going to work. So you can try to skip steps and you can try to go alone, but you're going to fail miserably really fast. So it's important that you connect with these people. It's important that you connect them to each other before you go into this project. So they know about each other. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And then you can be really successful in the project once you get into it. Because the reality is, 99% of backroom staffs in world football, now we're talking world football every level, is a disaster. So if you can be part of that 1%, you already have a huge advantage to really make something successful and really something interesting that can be innovative, that can intrigue a lot of people, and also excite the world of football.
What do you mean by disaster?
Disaster. So, for example, there's so many staffs that you have assistants where they're on 8,000 a month and they're doing nothing. They have zero role, and it's like I'm looking at him and he's sitting on the couch and he's chilling and he's just staying till 5 p.m. just so the clock runs down. That's one example. And there's another example where you have the head coach saying one thing, the assistant believing a complete different thing and not buying into what the head coach is saying. So something different happens. So there's so many different things going on. Then there's ego problems where, for example, a staff member thinks he's more than his position within the staff. And then he starts maybe having these kind of emotional responses to players, to staff members, and then really using the amygdala more than the prefrontal cortex. So really there's so many things that happen within a staff that are quite complex. And you think about it and you think like, it's great that you asked this question because staffs are so important. They're the most important. And I always speak about it recently when I've kind of done my reflections. The two biggest problems in football, in my opinion, at the moment, are staffs and data. And the kind of idea of data is quite complex in the sense that data is being misused at the moment in many cases, in my opinion. Obviously, there are some clubs that are an exception, but those are the two biggest problems in modern football, in my opinion. So I've had so many experience with different staff members, and I've really learned it the tough way to understand that it is a major problem in world football.
After various youth roles that you had, you went to Canada, you went to Vancouver. Could you talk to us about your experience there? What was your actual role? And talk to us about how you got the job as well.
Yeah, so obviously in Canada, I was 16 years old and I got an opportunity to head coach a League One match, which is like the second division. And that was because the head coach got a red card and I was working as an analyst the year before. That year I was kind of the assistant, and they gave me the opportunity to lead the match. And obviously leading a match where there's 30-year-olds playing, I mean, it's absolutely top experience. And we were playing against the 8th or we were the 9th or 10th best team in the league, and we were playing against the best team in the league. And they never lost the first half, and we were winning 2-1 at halftime. So obviously a good achievement for a 16-year-old. And then I saw that based on a data analysis that I did an extreme kind of comprehensive data analysis. I saw that between the 45th and 60th minute, they were the strongest team in the league, and by far it was like they had plus 17 goal difference. So I tried to change to 5-4-1 formation, and obviously I didn't know the team so well, so it was assistant, but it's semi-professional. It's not really professional. So I changed to 5-4-1, and the players were confused, and I stayed with it. And then within 7 minutes in the interval, so until the 52nd minute, we were losing 3-2. So that's the world of football. You learn from your experiences, and that was a huge experience for me, one that I'm very grateful for and that I still reflect on. So that was that. And obviously in terms of media, that gets you quite a bit of attention. And that's really the reason why from that moment onwards, I thought, I want to go to the top flight in the upcoming season. And how I did that is I reached out to a lot of people. I tried to connect with a lot of people during the next month. So that was obviously probably around August, let's say, that match. And then till January, I wanted to find something for the upcoming season. And that came in the best opportunity possible, it was with Afshin Ghotbi, a coach who has been to 4 World Cups, has top level experiences, and for me that was the ideal place to work, and there was no better place in that league to work in terms of staff. The staff was top. He brought in his own assistant, Marco Antonio Alvarez Ferreira, who also has World Cup experience and so many huge experiences, both in their 60s at the time. So they're very experienced guys, and they taught me a lot, and they almost brought me in as family. So I really appreciated that, and it was a top experience in Vancouver.
What do your family think of you and your crazy journey going from country to country, and you being so ambitious from such a young age?
There's so many different thoughts, isn't there? At the start, it was I was volunteer coaching, and it was like, we've been paying for you to play football from the age of 10 or 11. That's what I spoke about, the pay to play, and now you're saying that you want to go into coaching, you want to quit football, and you want to do it on a volunteer basis. So obviously, the whole goal of kind of playing football from a young age in Canada, if you want to kind of play it at a more academy level, as I did, is to get a scholarship in university. So I kind of eradicated that idea, and I went into volunteer coaching. So that's a huge thing. I mean, scholarship in university, that could be 60,000 a year, right? So for 4 years, that's you're talking about 240,000. So really, I completely eradicated that idea and went into volunteer coaching. Now, the idea of moving around from country to country, that's another thing. I mean, it's been a crazy journey, and it's been one that I probably need to slow down a little bit, which is why this kind of break that I have now is fantastic for me. I've been able to slow down. I've been able to reflect more internally on myself and understand myself a little bit better, and that's been really helpful for me. So it's really about making sure that I slow down now. I take the time for it, and then in my next role, I'm more than ready to jump on it.
And you went to Denmark, you went to Midtjylland, as you mentioned. What was your job there? And were you working with the first team?
Yeah, so I was obviously working more kind of like the academy level, and for me it was a fantastic experience in the sense that I got to work with so many guys from the first team as well, in the sense that you had this whole data department and the video department, and you were able to connect with them and really share experiences with them. And really, this is what intrigued me in a really unique way, in the sense that the data that was being kind of processed there was at an unbelievable level. The video, the detail of it, the individual tagging, there's so many things that were done at a top level there, and that was really just a kind of stepping stone to move on into my next journey, in the sense that I took a few months to understand a different culture, to understand how things work in a different environment, in a different club, really a unique club in world football. And it was really positive for me, and I still reflect on those days. I've been reflecting over the past few weeks on that data, and connecting with the data analyst from there, who's currently working with Brendan Rodgers in Saudi. And there's obviously you make top connections, top level connections when you work at a club like that, and that was a privilege for me.
You mentioned that you went to Slovakia, and that was a time where you ended up working with the proper first team and leading a game because the manager was away. What was your agent doing to get you this move? How did the move come about?
Yeah, to be honest, it was kind of there were many reasons. So the sporting director or the general manager in Podbrezová in Slovakia, in the top flight, wanted a young and ambitious coach from Midtjylland or Nordjylland, kind of those spots around there. So immediately there was interest when I declared interest, and the moment I declared interest was when I saw the matches and I saw how innovative the football is, and I wanted to join right away, and we figured something out in the middle of the season, which is not usual for staff structures. It doesn't happen. So we figured something out there, and that was really interesting for me. And obviously, in terms of the agent, it's a helping hand in helping secure details of the contract and things like this. So, but also my agent was very closely connected to the assistant general manager in Podbrezová, and that was where the connection kind of started with the club and with myself.
My last question would be about the backroom, the proper backroom of a football club. So you mentioned the sporting director before, and the people that make the decisions at the club. I've said before that perhaps they're not quite enticed with the football, and perhaps some of them don't quite know what they're doing.
Yeah, it does happen, and to be honest, it's many times it's former players, if I'm being completely honest, and they've lived their journey. They've had top experiences, and sometimes they believe that these top experiences are enough for them in many ways, and they just want to make or continue to make a living and stay in football. And the reality is that's gonna catch you out quite fast, and you immediately see problems. So whether it be in an assistant role where you're not able to help the staff enough, and you feel like you're not giving enough value to the staff, and then the head coach also points it out. Obviously, it's an awkward moment for the head coach, but he has to do it at some point, or the sporting director, whoever it may be, has to have that conversation. But in a head coaching role, I mean, you get caught out so fast. It's almost like immediate. So if you don't know your stuff, the players, depending on what level you're at, obviously, if you're coaching top level, then the players have experienced top level sessions, so they know if your session is bad or not. Obviously, if you're, let's say, working in Slovakia, it's more in a neutral environment in the sense that players haven't experienced the top level sessions. Like, they've experienced average sessions of a Slovakian coach, and Slovakian coaches aren't known to be worldwide good. I mean, you don't have Slovakian coaches outside of the Slovakian league, not too many. And the ones that are, they're doing a fantastic job. But obviously, let's generalize it and say that Slovakian coaches are not the cream of the crop in the coaching realm. So that's obviously different, and that's where the context and the environment comes in. And every context, every environment is different, and it's important that you're kind of aware of that.
Well, Dominic, thank you very much for joining me. Very, very insightful about your whole career, and I wish you all the best. And hopefully we see you in a big-time job in the not-too-distant future.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and thank you for having me.